Okay. So what will happen is, if I try to look into the velocity triangle of the next couple of stages, fine. If I look into that, what will happen? This is what the velocity triangle looks. So this is for the first stage. I have for the first stage the velocity triangle, and the fluid enters the next stage. So what is the velocity with which the fluid will exit? This is the velocity. V2 is the velocity with which the fluid will enter the next stage. But I do have a stator here. So I have a stator here. So I have a stator here, and there is a gap here. There is a small gap here. Here there will be a gap. Fine. And I do have a stator or nozzles. I do have the stator or nozzles. We call that as a stator or the nozzle. The fluid will enter the stator with a velocity v2 dash. Fine. So now the ratio of the entry velocity to the stator and the exit velocity of the preceding rotor. So stator to this particular thing, we call that as your carryover coefficient. Or V2 dash C, the velocity with which the fluid enters the nozzle or stator is equal to psi into V2. And usually this number will be in the range of around 0.9. So there will be a loss of around 8 to 10%. So 8 to 10%. So the psi will have a number of around 0.9 to 95. So that's the usual number. We try to take it and when. So now the fluid is flowing through your stator and it exits at some velocity v3. So it enters the velocity. There is one more loss is that here I do have the stator to here also I do have a gap. So there is a gap between rotor and stator and rotor. And this called as, see, the interaction, whatever the things that is happening over there. So there can be changes in the pressure, there can be changes in the velocities, and this is called as rotor stator interaction. And this is a very research, lot of research is going on in this particular area, because for each particular, whenever we try to change the profile of the blade, these interactions are going to change. So each profile will have a different kind of interaction, a different velocity profiles, a different, maybe the losses, or we call it as a vertices formed at this particular thing. So maybe there I can call, maybe there is a carryover coefficient at this point also. So if V3 is what I'm expecting, so V3 dash is something which is going out of this particular. So I can call, so carryover coefficient between the stator and the next stage of the rotor will be your V3 by V3 dash. So I do have a carryover coefficient wherever the fluid is coming out of the rotor and entering the stator, or coming out of the stator and entering the rotor. Fine. This is called as carryover coefficient. Fine. Now, okay. Now we look at what is when there is something called as nozzle efficiency. The nozzle efficiency. And this nozzle efficiency is nothing but it is the difference in your velocity or kinetic energy absorbed. So if I take V3, so this is for the rotor, if I take, it is for V3 square minus your corresponding with which it is exiting. So V3, so V3 square is what it's going to come in, and it is coming out of the sea, it's entering at some velocity V3 dash. It's entering, see, I'm with respect to V3 dash, if I call this is the nozzle, and corresponding V2 dash divided by 2 divided by your enthalpy drop, that is isentropic enthalpy drop in the nozzle, that is in the nozzle. So if I want to generalize it, I can write, see, the fluid exits at velocity v2 square, and so we can call this as v exit square and v entry square divided by 2 times your isentropic enthalpy drop. This is my generalized formula for your nozzle efficiency. Okay. Now, before we try to get an expression for efficiency for multi-staging, so let's use some cosine rule and try to get some expressions for your velocity triangle. Okay, let's use the cosine rule. Okay. Now, if you consider so let's look at this first stage itself. If I look at the triangle, what is it a cosine rule? If cosine rule tells that if I have three sides of a triangle, so I can write, if I want to find the one of the angle, I have the formula. So here, if I consider the velocity triangle, so outlet velocity triangle, that is your VR2 phi and your U and your V2. If I consider only this triangle, that is VR2, U2 and V2. So rest all I am not considering. So I am considering only that triangle. So what are the corresponding angles? The angle is beta 2. So I can write VR2 square or V2 square. I want to write in terms of V2 square. V2 square will be equal to your other two sides. So plus addition of other two sides, square of other side, that is VR2 square plus U square minus 2 times your U into VR2 into that particular cosine of that particular angle. Fine. So that is the formula. And similarly, what will happen if I consider the other velocity triangle, that is your V1, VR1 and your alpha 1. I can write in that particular form also. So I can write your VR1 square is equal to V1 square plus U square minus 2 into V1 into cos alpha 1. So let me write that particular using cosine rule. Let me write that formula. That is your V2 square is equal to VR2 square plus U square minus 2 into U into VR2 into cos beta 2. Let me call that as equation number 1. And similarly from the inlet triangle, this is from outlet triangle. From the inlet triangle, I can write VR1 square is equal to V1 square plus U square minus 2U into V1 into cos alpha 1. See, now I want to convert this cos alpha, I want to write in terms of betas. I want the corresponding expressions for V2 and VR, whatever it may be, I want in terms of beta. Okay. So if I consider the inlet velocity triangle, what is my cos beta 1? Cos beta 1. So cos beta 1 is equal to your adjacent, that is x, that is VW1 minus U divided by VR1. Okay, x is VW1 minus U. So let me write that. So from the inlet velocity triangle, from the inlet velocity triangle, cos beta 1 is equal to your x divided by VR1, or I can write cos beta 1 is equal to VW1 minus U divided by VR1. What is my VW1? See, VW1 is the tangential component of your velocity. So VW1 is equal to V1 cos alpha 1. At the same time, V of 1 is equal to V1 sin alpha 1. We know this formula. So I can write cos beta 1 is equal to V1 cos alpha 1 minus U divided by VR1. I can write, so just a little bit of cross multiplication, I can write V1 cos alpha 1 is equal to VR1 cos beta 1 plus U. So I am calling this as equation, if I call this as equation 3, I am calling this as equation 4. Now substitute for this V1 cos alpha 1 in equation 2. So substitute for V1 cos alpha. Substitute for V1 cos alpha 1 in equation 2. If I substitute, what I am going to get, your VR1 square is equal to V1 square plus U square minus 2 into U into, substitute for V1 cos alpha, I can write it as VR1 cos beta 1 plus U. Fine. I substituted for V1 cos alpha 1. Now open the brackets. So what I am going to get? This will be V1 square plus U square minus 2 into U into VR1 into cos beta 1. So minus into plus is minus 2U square. Now minus 2U square plus U square, I can write it as, so VR1 square is equal to V1 square minus U square minus 2U into VR1 into cos beta 1. I am calling this as equation 5. So now when I try to write the expressions for, further expressions for your efficiency and all, I will be using these expressions. I will substitute for VR1 and VR2 in this particular format. So in R Yadav, directly he has used this expression without giving any explanation. So this should be, so use of your velocity triangle, you have to get it. Okay. Now, what are the next derivation? So these two expressions I am going to use. These two expressions exclusively I am going to use. The expression for efficiency in multi-stage turbines or multi-stage. Okay, so this should be your final derivation. So gross stage efficiency is what we are looking at. Now, if I consider the inlet velocity triangle, fine. If I take this inlet velocity triangle, or maybe one of the stages, I will take this particular velocity triangle. I will take this velocity triangle and we'll try to derive the expressions. So we know the cosine rule, all those things are done. Now we have two expressions. What are those? VR2 square, sorry, V2 square. It is V2 square is equal to, we have these two expressions, that is VR2 square plus U square minus 2 into U into VR2 into cos beta 2. This is my, I call that as equation 1. And I have the other expression, that is VR1 square is equal to V1 square minus U square minus 2 into VR1 into cos beta 1. So for this derivation, I will call this as so 1 and 2. So I am going to use, I am rewriting that equation 1 and 2. Now, equations 1 and 2 will be used here. Okay. Now, if I take the equation 1 and let's consider, let CB, which is the ratio of CB or KB, so is equal to ratio of VR2 by VR1, or I can write VR2 is equal to CB into VR1. So I will substitute for VR2 in equation 1. Okay, substitute for this VR2 in by substituting this CB into VR1. So I can write, therefore, equation 1 becomes V2 square is equal to VR2 square. I can write it as CB square into, so it is CB into VR1 square, so it is CB square into VR1 square plus U square minus 2 into U into CB into VR1 into cos beta 2. So I am calling that as equation number 3. Now I know what is VR1 square. So substitute for VR1 square from equation 2. So if I substitute for that VR1 square from equation 2, what I am going to get actually, I will be getting, therefore your V2 square is equal to CB square, okay, into, I will put everything in the bracket, that is V1 square minus U square minus 2 into U into VR1 into cos beta 1 plus U square minus 2 into U into CB into VR1 CB into VR1 into cos beta 2. Okay. Now I can simplify this. Open the bracket and simplify this expression. So if I simplify this, what I'm going to get actually, this is CB square into V1 square upon the bracket, then minus CB square into U square minus 2 into U into VR1 into cos beta 1 plus U square minus 2 into U into CB into VR1 into cos beta 2. Okay, so I call this as, so further simplification I can do. So to do that, I will take one, define one something called as, let some capital B is equal to the ratio of cos beta 2 by cos beta 1. Already this, I think this kind of a derivative, this ratio, if beta 1 and beta 2 both are same, this will be 1 in case of an impulse turbine. But for the reaction turbine, this will be having some number. Okay, so if I define B is equal to cos beta 2 by cos beta 1, okay, so then I can write V2 square is equal to, I can write V2 square is equal to, right, V2 square is equal to CB square into V1 square plus, I have U square as outside, that is this one and this one, U square as outside, I can write 1 minus CB square plus 2 into U. So I have 2U into, if I take that outside, so VR1 into cos beta 1. Okay, so what is my VR1 into cos beta 1? So what is my, already we have defined. So if we go back and see, what is my beta 1? Beta cos beta 1. So already we have this we have written. Cos beta 1 is equal to your V1 cos alpha 1 minus U divided by VR1. Okay, I can write VR1 cos beta 1, okay, VR1 cos beta 1 is equal to V1 cos alpha 1 minus C. So I will write this particular thing in terms of, so to do that actually I can write, so if I write VR1 into cos, so VR1, if I take it outside, let me take VR1 outside, and so then I can retain, if I take 2u into VR1 outside, I have cos beta 1, okay, cos beta 1, that also I can bring it out. So what I am left with actually 1 plus CB into capital B, okay. So we don't write this, write it in that. This is already we have written, so I will take that expression and use it, that's it. So this will be your expression. So this will be your expression. Now substitute for VR1 cos beta 1 in terms of cos alpha. See, now I got this particular thing in terms of phi and B. So if I want in terms of phi, so what is my phi? Already we have defined B, and I can define the speed ratio U is equal to U divided by V1. So that also option is there. So I can define. So to do that, so further simplification, that's it. These are further simplifications. I can write V2 square is equal to, well, V2 square is equal to CV square into V1 square plus U square into 1 minus CV square plus 2 into U into, I can write V1 cos alpha 1 minus U, okay, into I think we missed out CD square here. So we have to multiply by CD square here. Yeah, that we missed out because we had a bracket here. So this is, we have CD square. This so CD square plus K into CD. Sorry, CD into B. CD into B. We missed out. If you write that, this is CB square plus CB into B. So this will be your expression. Now, so further simplification, if I want, I will take my V1 square outside. So if I do that, V2 square is equal to, if I take my V1 square outside, what I am left with, CB square plus, if I take my V1 square outside, this will be U square by V1 square into 1 minus CB square, okay. So this will be, this is minus, this is minus, this is minus. So minus 2 into, see I have, see 1 V1 I have come outside. So I am left with U cos alpha 1 divided by V1. 1 V1 is outside. Minus, if I multiply 2U, so 2 is outside means U into U, this will be U square. And if I take V1 square as outside, so I have to divide it by V1 square. Then multiplied by CB square plus CB into B. So this will be my expression. Now if I substitute for phi is equal to U by V1, so that will be your final expression. So V2 square is equal to V1 square into CB square plus phi square into 1 minus CB square minus 2 into phi into cos alpha 1 minus phi square into CB square plus CB into B. So this will be your expression. So I have taken this as equation 4. I can call this as expression 5. So V2 square is the exit velocity of the blade. So considering what are the factors we are considering, I am considering your blade friction, that is CB. So what will happen? How my relative velocity will drop, and I am considering the speed ratio. Okay. Now, what is the generalized nozzle efficiency equation? So we have the nozzle efficiency given by the nozzle efficiency, so given by, let me write it general, that is I can write it as the corresponding the velocity with the fluid is going out actually. So what is the fluid which is going out? If I call that as V1 square, and what is the velocity with which the fluid is coming in? I can call it as psi into V2 square. That's it. Then 2 times your delta isentropic. So this is your generalized thing. So generalized expression for your nozzle efficiency. So if I substitute for V2, so substitute, if I call this as equation 6, substitute for V2 in equation 6, what will happen? Your nozzle efficiency, I can write it as V1 square minus psi into the whole expression, that is V2 square. So that is V1 square into CB square plus phi square into 1 minus CB square minus 2 into phi cos alpha 1 minus phi square into CB square plus CB into B. Whole thing divided by 2 times your isentropic enthalpy drop. Or if I do a cross multiplication, that is your isentropic enthalpy drop is equal to the same expression, whatever is there in the top, I can write it again. Write it again. So this will be divided by 2 times your nozzle efficiency. 2 times your nozzle efficiency. So if I call this as expression 7, this as if I want in terms of nozzle efficiency, I will get equation 7. If I want in terms of equation, maybe in terms of isentropic enthalpy drop, this will be equation 8. Why this actually? Because already you know this. I want to express this particular thing in terms of efficiency. What type of efficiency I am looking at? I am looking at the gross stage efficiency. What is my gross stage efficiency? So the gross stage efficiency is given by the gross stage efficiency for multi-staging is given by, okay, that is your eta gross stage GR is equal to your work done. So what is your work done? That is W divided by your isentropic enthalpy drop. What will be your work done actually? Your work done will be delta VW or VW1 minus VW2 into U. So delta VW divided by isentropic efficiency, or I can write it as VW1 minus VW2 into U divided by isentropic efficiency. I am calling that as equation 9. Hope you remember, we have already derived, we have the expression for work done in terms of, we have the expression for work done. Already we have the expression for work done given by, what is it actually? Your W is equal to your delta VW into U in terms of V1 square into phi cos alpha 1 minus phi square into 1 plus CB into B. So this is derived earlier. If you want, you can cross check. We have already derived this. This is derived earlier. Now what will be the gross stage efficiency? Substituting for this work done in my gross stage efficiency, what I am going to get? So your gross stage efficiency is given by B1 square into phi cos alpha 1 minus phi square into 1 plus CB into B divided by your isentropic enthalpy. What is that isentropic enthalpy drop? That is V1 square into 1, that is CB square. So what is it actually? So this particular thing I can, V1 square I can take it out. So this will be 1 minus psi into CB square plus phi square into 1 minus CB square minus 2 into phi cos alpha 1 minus phi square into CB square plus CB into B. So this is my expression. So V1 just simply they go off. I cancel out, and this is actually divided by 2 times the nozzle. So you divided by this divided by 2 times your nozzle efficiency. So the nozzle efficiency will go to the numerator. I am left with, so V1 square and V1 square they cancel out. I am left with 2 times your nozzle efficiency into phi cos alpha 1 minus phi square into 1 plus CB into D whole thing divided by 1 minus psi into CB square plus phi square into 1 minus CB square minus 2 into phi into cos alpha 1 minus phi square into CB square plus CB into B. So this is your final expression for gross stage efficiency. Now look at this particular expression. If we look at the expression number 9, so the nozzle efficiency is a constant. Fine. Your CB is also a constant. Your B is also a constant. So these three are already constant. So what I am left with? I am left with other two factors. What are those? Alpha and phi. Say alpha 1 and phi. Alpha 1 and phi. So these are the two things we are left with. Now, when I am designing a particular turbine or whatever may be this thing, I want to inject the fluid at a particular alpha. So what will happen for a given alpha 1? So for a given flow angle at the inlet, my gross stage efficiency will be a function of your ratio of your peripheral or blade velocity to your V1, that is your fluid velocity. It's a function of phi. Or how I can maximize it? To maximize, what should I do? I should differentiate this with respect to phi and efficiency. Okay, so differentiate this expression 9. So this we also just leave this particular thing. Just I am trying to give information for you that if I differentiate, what I will be getting, I'll be getting the some relationship with respect to. So if I differentiate, what I'm going to get. So the first quantity, if I look at it, it will be maybe phi square, and you'll be having something called as a psi, and you'll be having your alpha. So psi, phi, and alpha. So I'll be getting the expression in terms of this particular thing and equate it. So if I, at any given point, if my CB is equal to 1, I don't have any friction. So VR1 is equal to VR2. Or for an impulse turbine, if my cos beta 1 is equal to cos beta 2. For this condition, so depending upon a given condition, so depending upon whether it's an impulse turbine or if there are no friction, so then I can differentiate it and I'll be getting the maybe getting the expressions for phi, and you can substitute and get the corresponding gross stage efficiency. Okay, so now what I want is I want you people to try this as a homework. What is this? I want you people to try this differentiation homework. First one is if CV and if CV is equal to 1 and B is equal to 1, and get the expression. CB is equal to 1 and B is equal to 1. Differentiate and get the expression for nozzle efficiency. So that is your gross stage efficiency max. I want you people to get it just a matter of 5 minutes is equal to what is this expression. I want you people to get it. For CB is equal to, condition is for CB is equal to 1 and B is equal to, when any nozzle stage efficiency is 1. So nozzle stage efficiency depends anyway, it's a constant. So what I want is actually anyway that will go off, a constant differentiation. So in this expression put, so then what will happen, this will become 2. So that's a constant. So here also is 1 and 1 square. So some of the quantities will become automatic, they get maybe vanished. So you will left with a particular few things. So from this you can easily get the condition for maximum efficiency. Fine. So this is about your expression for your, and see, we may get the expression in terms of your phi and in terms of your carryover coefficient psi. Psi is also there. See, psi is also a constant here. We left out here. Psi is also a constant. So I may get this particular thing in terms of psi. Psi into some number and all, you'll be getting it. So that number I want you to be able to get it. Fine. So that's about your this derivation. So what we look at is now we look at the multi-stage or velocity diagram for a three-stage velocity diagram for a three-stage or a three-row or three-row velocity component wheel or velocity component wheel or whatever we call that as a shaft or whatever. So I have this velocity triangle. So I have this velocity triangle, which is there in Aryada also, same book. Now look at this. So what are this particular thing? If you closely observe this, closely observe, that is where we do have a first stage. Fine. So first stage we have a fluid enters at some velocity. This is your first stage thing, and this is your second stage. I call this as the first stage. Right. This is your second stage, and you have a third stage or three-row velocity compounded turbine. So 3-row velocity compounded turbine. Now, if you look at it, the velocity, it enters at C. This is your alpha. See, if I call this as alpha 1, so the velocity with which the fluid is coming, see, this is, so we have two velocity, combined velocity triangle, and this is your U. This is your U. So this is your U. I have a common U, and at a given point, you look at this. This gives your delta VW from this point to this point. It will give the delta VW. So that is the delta VW for the first stage. This is the delta VW for the second stage. I am showing you how to look into that. Then I do have the delta VW for the third stage. What is it actually? Why this is so important? At any given point, you want to find what is my total work done. The total work done is equal to delta VW of first stage plus delta VW of second stage plus delta VW of third stage, whole thing multiplied by U. See, U is not changing. What is happening? This particular thing U, this is my U, U remain the same because the shaft will be running at the same speed. That you have to remember. The shaft is running at the same speed. This is your peripheral velocity. Peripheral velocity. And this is your, what is it actually? The whirl velocity. That is change in your whirl velocities. The whirl velocity or change in your tangential is also tangential velocity, which is very much required for your torque development. So if you go and look into the Euler expressions, see the Euler expressions consists of your tangential component of the velocity. Then for each component you look at it. What are the things? See, if I have maybe V or whatever it may be. So if this is my V1, this is my alpha 1, okay, and this is my U, this will be my VR1, okay. So what will be my velocity triangle? So my velocity triangle will be this. This will be my velocity triangle. This will be my velocity triangle. Now look at this. What's happening? See, the size of the triangle clearly indicates the energy it is carrying. And if I try to draw, resolve the velocity component V1, so this I'm going to get Vf1, and I can resolve it and I'll be getting Vw1 from here to this particular point. I'll be getting my V1. Then I have, see, you have this alpha 1. So I have my corresponding alpha 2 here. So this will be my V2. Fine. Then this is my VR2. So if there is a loss, so then VR2 is equal to your CV into VR1. So I can resolve the V2 component and I can get it. So this will be my VF2. This will be my VW2. So this is your first stage velocity triangle. So this you should learn how to put it on a graph sheet to the scale. So for any number of stages. So maximum number of stages we can find in steam turbines is 4. So there can be 3 stages. You can't have any turbine less than 3. So it will be either 3 stage or a 4 stage. Or they may ask you to do, maybe the numerical they may ask you to do for only for high pressure turbine. If they ask you to do for high pressure stages of the turbine, there will be first stage and second stage. The low pressure stage of the turbine means it will be third stage and fourth stage. No problem. Okay. Now you have this particular thing. What will happen? Now the fluid is coming out of the velocity with V2. This is the velocity which the fluid will come out. So what will be the fluid if there is no carryover coefficient? If the carrier coefficient is 0.9, so we will have the velocity triangles only for the rotors. This is for the first stage rotor. This is for the second stage rotor. Third stage rotor. We will not write any velocity triangle for stator because they are not rotating. My relative velocity is 0 for that. Okay. Now, when I come to the second stage rotor, what will happen? So, as I told, fluid will be coming out of your rotor. It enters the stator, then it will come out. So, if suppose if this is my V2, if there is no carryover coefficient, that is, if it is 0.95, so I can just simply 0.95 into this particular thing and 0.95 into this particular thing. I'll be getting, so if this is V2, this is V2 dash, this is V3 dash, and this will be V3. So it enters at that particular velocity. It enters at V3. So if I try to draw the velocity triangle here, so if there is no carryover coefficient, if the carryover coefficient psi is equal to 1, if psi is equal to 1, then V2 will be equal to V3. So if psi is equal to 1, your V2 will be equal to V3, or it will be lower than the 0.95 times of it, or 0.95 into 0.95, whatever, depending upon the problem. This may be your alpha 3. Now my u remain the same. See, this u, it remain the same. It's rotated in this direction, and this will be my VR3. So this will be my VF3. This will be my VW3. So try to follow the same conventions. Then what is the exit for that? The exit is, this is my exit, V4, and this is my alpha 4. So I have the corresponding beta 1, this is beta 2. So here I have beta 4, beta 3. Those are the blade angles. I can get it. Then this will be your VR4. This will be VF4, and this will be VW4. So at each and every, see, what is this difference between what is my delta VW1 first stage, delta VW for second stage? What is this thing? If both my VW1 and VW2, if they are in the same direction, this will be VW1 minus VW2. If VW1 and VW2 are in opposite directions, then it will be VW1 minus VW2, that becomes plus. So it is VW1 plus VW2. That's how you people have tried to build some kind of a concept by solving the numericals. So similar thing I can do it for a third stage also. So third stage, it will be once again, so I do have the same U, then so this will be V5, this will be VR5, this will be U, this will be VF5, and this will be VW5, and similarly I can draw the velocity triangle like this. So this will be VR6, this will be V6, VF6, and your VW6. Now look at this particular thing. The velocity triangle has to be drawn. So they are all on the same graph sheet with a common base. So that particular common base is your U. The common base is U. So whenever I have a fixed guide vanes, You look at this particular thing. So I do have K1 or whatever we call, that is your corresponding flow, your psi or whatever we have taken. So psi is nothing but your carryover coefficient. You take that carryover coefficient and you calculate the next point of your velocity. If the carryover coefficient is not given in the numericals, you can take your V2, whatever the velocity with which the fluid is coming out of the previous rotor, and it will be entering the next rotor with the same velocity. So with that assumption, we should be able to solve the numerical. Okay. For each and everything, it's given. Maybe if you look at into R Yadav textbook also, for